created with a profound desire for God. That's intrinsic to human nature. We are moved by God toward God from the moment of our creation. And yet, that sounds fairly abstract, that notion of a sort of intrinsic desire of our nature for the Creator and so on. But there's also that existential dimension, that the human vocation is a constant process of cultivating every aspect of your nature, including your desires, including even your lesser desires. And I wrote an essay a couple of years ago. I published an essay on the theme of desire at Maximus. And the way I would describe it is that there's even desire is sort of a layered concept in Maximus. Everything from sort of the ultimate sort of intellectual desire for God, which is very much built into the mind, but also that sense that even the deeper, what we would tend to think as the base desires, like eros, even those must be converted. And of course, the truth is that for Plato, eros was not just this sort of acquisitive desire. It really was, it represented the deep drive of the soul. In order to convert the soul, you have to convert eros.
It's sweetness.
Yeah, exactly. And we know in the Western tradition, Augustine picks up on this somewhat. If you don't convert desire, you won't convert the self. So that's certainly what's going on in his Confessions. And it's very, very richly developed in Maximus, not only in Ambigua 7, but in other texts as well, where he's trying to show that you have to proactively engage all these features of yourself. And like you were saying, it's almost as if deification is a process of experiencing yourself. Experiencing yourself as a gift from God. And coming to grips with the resources of your own nature. And using those.
And its liabilities.
Yeah, exactly. And so those were sort of my initial thoughts. I think the whole idea that this text is more than just a sort of cosmic metaphysics. That for Maximus's style of thinking is, if you want to call it that the dimension of virtue, the dimension of moral and spiritual development, always are integrated into the framework, the groundwork, philosophic, the cosmological.
All of what Paul says echoes so true, and the fact that even our most fundamental physical and emotional impulses and energies are drawn into this project of ecstatic union with God. It is a deeply affirmative, creation-affirming kind of vision, isn't it?
Well, we talk about the love of God as sort of the reaching full fruition in deification, but it's textured by the whole of the passage itself.
Yes.
I was mentioning last week, I think, in the Maximus class, that Nicholas Berdyaev, the great Russian philosopher, criticized Maximus and a number of the Byzantine fathers for their anthropology sort of lacking any kind of warmth, any kind of passion, and I couldn't see anything farther from the truth. There's a depth of desire. There's a texture of our cultivation of ourselves for deification.
I mean, that also suggests, just sparks an idea that this is not only creation affirming and nature affirming in some respects, it's also, it affirms individuality in many respects, because desire, we could speak of natural desire, which in some respects is kind of universally present, but it it arises and manifests itself very, very differently, and our desires are very much historically conditioned by relationships, by the conditions of life we meet, by the choices we make. And so the kind of conversion of desire that Maximus proposes also opens the way for a far greater affirmation of individuality and difference than perhaps might first meet the